Sadly, we live in a world where the ravages of time will cause things to wear down. Notably, my patience in a Harry and the Hendersons theatrical reboot. But also guitar strings. So today we're going to talk a little bit about guitar strings, what you're looking for in them, and specifically we're using the Ernie Ball Paradigm 80/20 Bronze acoustic guitar strings as an example. And really, what are you looking for in guitar strings? I think the main three things are that they sound good, that they don't break, and that they have a long, usable lifespan. So in the past, it's been kind of like a coated guitar string versus uncoated guitar string debate. And some of the pros and cons are, and again, I've been like an Elixir fan for a while, like a coated string player, but I've just switched because some of the advantages of coated strings are that they last a lot longer. They kind of play, they have like a smoother feel to them. But the disadvantage is that some would say like a coating on a string actually dampens the tone and kind of takes some of the high end off of it, which is why a lot of players prefer uncoated strings, which the advantage of that are usually they're cheaper. A lot of people would say they sound better. Again, that's totally subjective. But the disadvantage is that they wear down, they corrode faster, and they're a little bit harder on your hands to play around with. Now, the reason that a guitar string is going to break down over time is because the oils and the water from your hand and other debris will kind of like get into that string, which is usually in most guitars steel, and it will cause it to like rust. Also, too, breaking is something that a lot of players will deal with. Now, I'm not a heavy-handed player, so I rarely break strings because I'm hitting them too hard, even though a lot of people do it, and that's fine. But what you'll notice if you've ever broken strings before is that they'll usually break in the same spot. Usually maybe right down here, up here, something like that. Now, what's really cool, what's different about these Paradigm strings is that the durability has really been focused on, and they do this by using something called RPS string technology, where they reinforce like the most commonly breakable spots of a string, and they also have a thing where their wire drawing is drawn with like a finer grain steel that kind of makes it just stronger in general and it's harder to break. I'm going to link you to a video on some of the science behind it if you want to really get into that. But basically, a good set of coated strings traditionally is supposed to last you maybe 3+ months. Maybe an uncoated set lasts you like a month, sometimes less depending on how much you're playing it. But the amazing thing about these Paradigm strings is that they have a 90-day guarantee. So if it rusts or if you break a string within 90 days, they have like a claim thing where they'll actually just like replace it or refund you, which is kind of unheard of, especially if you're somebody who goes through strings a lot. Now, as far as the tone goes, kind of like I said before, we're going to hear this in a second, but the coated strings tend to have like a dampening on the high end, and the reason that the Paradigms can get away with kind of keeping that tone intact but still lasting long is because they have this treated Everlast technology, which essentially is just like a super, super thin, technically I guess you could call it a coating, that kind of goes against all that, and it's just like really cool, and it's something that you should definitely try out first. Another thing that is cool about these strings is, again, like I said, I don't really break a lot of strings just by playing, but most of the time when I break strings is because there's an actual defect in the string. Like, you may actually see these, like, sometimes what people tell, like, if you buy a new set of strings, you just, like, uncoil it and let it hang, and sometimes you might see, like, a kink in it, especially with electric guitar strings, I've noticed this. And if there's any defect in that string, sometimes when you're tuning it up, it'll just snap while you're tuning it up. So the cool thing about these Paradigm ones is that they have this plasma treatment that foregoes before that actually kind of essentially burns out. It heat treats any kind of defects in the string, so it'll be a more consistent strength from string to string. So definitely I have switched to these strings. I would encourage you to check them out if you feel like you want to kind of make just a change in your tone and just kind of the overall feel of your guitar playing. They have acoustic and electric ones. I'm going to link you below to check them out, but I just wanted to kind of do a quick thing to kind of show the differences in how they sound and how you kind of retain a lot of that uncoated tone with the playability and comfort of a coated string with a new thing. And also, too, another thing is they don't flake. Another complaint that a lot of people have about the coated strings is that they kind of flake off, so that's one more thing that you're avoiding here. So anyways, let's hear how it sounds.